Hello, truth seekers. This is your Conspiracy Laws host, JB. Welcome to episode 10. Today, we're going to blow the lid off the Democratic National Committee's plan to rig the 2020 primaries. So, you all already know that I don't like to talk about politics, um, but there's something worse than the Russians attacking our democracy, and that is the Democratic National Committee, the DNC. No one wants to talk about this. All the evidence is laid out for us to see. It's pretty obvious, but everyone's afraid because of what the lengths the DNC has gone to in the past to get the person they want into office, to circumvent the democratic process. It's really disgusting. It angers me. I'm gonna try to not get too angry in this, but it's it is what it is. So before we get into the details about what's happening already going into the 2020 primaries, let's take a look at history to see what the DNC has done in the past. So it's 1968, and Robert F. Kennedy is doing a great job. He's just won the California primaries. And he's the clear front runner, and then he gets shot by Sirhan, allegedly over Palestine. Um, the DNC. Let's take a look at who was running against and who ended up getting the nomination for the Democratic National Party. It It was Hubert Humphrey, vice president at the time, and the DNC wanted to keep the status quo. They had RFK with his radical ideas, and they wanted to put a stop to that. They wanted to keep things as close to the moderate as possible, because that's what the higher ups want, and the DNC wants to please the higher ups. So the DNC had Robert Kennedy killed and subsequently lost the general election to someone who should never have been in office in the first place, Nixon. Humphrey lost to Nixon, and Kennedy would have won. It's very clear that he would have won. All the polls showed that he was ahead in head to head against Nixon, but the DNC meddled, and there you have it. A more recent example is the last presidential election. Bernie Sanders had this great groundswell. They very similar to what Obama had in 2012. The DNC didn't step it up as much with Obama, but with Sanders they did. You can the documents are there for you to see. WikiLeaks released the verifiable evidence that the head of the DNC, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, was cheating in favor of Hillary Clinton. That really made me angry. And then once this was uncovered, Wasserman Schultz had the gall to not want to step down. She refused. Obama had to force her to step down. And then she was promptly hired by the Clinton campaign. It's disgusting. Hired a cheater. And again, lost a campaign that the Democrats really should have won. They lost to Trump, of all people, because the DNC cheated. So let's look at 2020. Uh, it's clear that the DNC wants Elizabeth Warren. This has been very clear. Everyone I've talked to through my media connections, no one will go on record about it because they know that you could be murdered for this if you put this out there. I'm scared talking about it, but I'd rather die than live in a society where we have to live in fear. So I'm getting this out there, and hopefully we can cause some change. It's clear that Elizabeth Warren is who they want. I've seen secret documents that say that that's the case. It's Elizabeth Warren's turn. And in order to squash debate, well, first of all, the DNC is through its secret channels. They are spreading, just framing all the other candidates, all the other front runners as just terrible people. Um, with Biden, it's the that he's a creeper, that he likes to, well, he's essentially a rapist because he sniffs women's hair and gets close to them and touches them. Uh, and they clearly don't like it. And that's clearly a sign that Biden is a terrible person and will, I don't know, do terrible stuff to this country. Just leaving bad tastes in your mouth about Biden. That's what the DNC's plan is to do with this leftist. Like they're trying to they're trying to connect him with the bad side of the Me Too movement. Whereas his track record shows that he's done so much for women's rights. He's done so much for liberal ideals to help people. Bernie Sanders, who was cheated in 2016, now he's too old. Um, just a little bit older than Biden, I believe less than a year. But Sanders is too old. He's gonna die. The dude has so much energy. Have you seen him play basketball? He could take most of you to school. But no, he's too old. Um, and then you have Pete Buttigieg, who has come out of nowhere, and he's just a mayor in Indiana. For some reason, his lack of experience doesn't matter. The DNC isn't playing that up yet. We're still pretty early on in the race, and I'm sure that will come up if Pete Buttigieg continues to have this groundswell going for him. But already they're framing him as racist. Because he demoted a black police chief. He's now racist. If you look at the facts, that's not really the whole story, but in today's soundbite culture, all you need is your name linked with racism or some other form of bigotry, and people don't feel the need to do more research. It's right there, and they don't want to touch it with a 20-foot pole. And there you have it. So, in addition to using back channels to spread these labels with other front runners, um, they're more the higher ups in the Democratic National Party are more overtly spreading memes that will squash debate. One of the popular things is I don't care who we elect or who we nominate. We need to get this racist, pedophile, rapist, um, liar out of the White House. And um, and if you suggest that we differentiate between the candidates, then you're gonna just continue to keep. You're gonna give Trump 4 more years. And the higher ups are trying to blur the lines between differentiating between candidates and attacking them. Um, if you say, "Oh, this is where so and so stands on a issue," I don't agree with that. That's considered an attack and not differentiating and not stating your opinion or why you would support one candidate over another. Um, and Also, attacking someone is considered immoral and should disqualify your opinion. You're just angry and attacking people. No, no, we need to differentiate between candidates. And that is not going to get Trump elected. Lying and doing dishonest things, that is going to help the Republicans win. That's how it's worked all throughout history. Um, yeah, the DNC meddling is what will get Trump reelected. And what can we do about it? Um, so we can continue to shout the difference between the candidates to the high heavens. We can continue to shout the difference between differentiating between candidates and attacking. We can look at the issues, looking at the issues and choosing a candidate that is more qualified is not attacking or going to hurt the Democrat candidate. Secondly, you need to be critical of everything you read. Know that the DNC is trying to get you to have a specific opinion, and you need to think about that. Next, pay close attention to the issues and vote for the candidate that aligns with yours. I already touched on that. Don't let others intimidate you. Feel free to keep your opinions private if you don't want to get into arguments. It's fine. No one's in the voting booth with you. You can even lie about who you voted for. A lot of people do in those exit polls. But vote for the candidate you want. I'm going to end it at that. If you have any questions or ideas, please comment below. Please support the truth by subscribing to the Conspiracy Laws channel and sharing the truth with your friends. We'll be back tomorrow with an episode about why you shouldn't trust viral videos you see in the news. In the meantime, think about what we uncovered today. We awake the world tomorrow.